But make no mistake, folks, we do have a fight on our hands here, especially with things like coal seam gas. Because coal seam gas mining isn't about harvesting gas. It's about the destruction of the water table. That's precisely what it's about. We don't need gas for our energy needs, folks. We really don't. You know, even just in the United States, when they sink an oil well, they burn off, they flash off more gas from American oil wells in 1 month than America uses in 1 year. So they could simply harvest the gas that they use in the flash-offs from the oil wells if it was really about collecting gas. So it's not about collecting gas, folks. And we don't even need these type of energy devices. We do not need gas for energy. As I demonstrated at the end of the new film Transformation, there's an energy device developed by a man called Justin Hall Tipping that he demonstrated at TED Talks that clearly shows that we can generate electricity just from light. And I'm not talking about solar panels. It's a completely new procedure of harvesting electrons that's been developed through a carbon-based film you can put on your window. And in fact, you can put it on anything. You could cover your car in this stuff. You could cover an aeroplane in it, or a train, or anything, a boat. It doesn't matter. And you can extract energy simply from light. And even if the process isn't quite perfected yet, I'm not sure whether it is or isn't, but even if it isn't, just the fact that this process exists at all, I mean, you'd think that every government in the world would be dropping everything to implement this type of energy system around the globe. And the fact that they're not speaks volumes. So you've really got to let that sink into your head, folks, that they do not need the gas in order to create energy. We don't need coal to create energy. We don't need solar panels. We don't need nuclear power. We don't need any of these things to create energy. And when you look at coal seam gas, they say they are doing it to harvest gas that we do not need. So why are they really doing it? Okay, well, what is the one inevitable outcome of coal seam gas mining? It's the pollution of groundwater. So that is why coal seam gas mining is being conducted. There's a war going on, folks. It's a war being waged against the people of the world, and it's being waged by the elite. It's happening right now, and people simply aren't paying attention. This is something that I said in a film that I released in 2008 called The Big Picture, where I used almost those exact words. And it's important that people pay attention and that they realize the power they have to stop this machine from progressing any further. That power lies in non-compliance. Non-compliance is the upholding of natural law, and the only way we can really pull it off is through the power of community. So we need to put that common unity back into community. We need to stand in non-compliance and natural law and do the right thing to prevent the rest of this infrastructure from being put in place. And they say they're doing it to save the planet. You know, they justify their actions. Oh, we need to cull the human race in order to save the planet because the human race is out of control. But the human race is only out of control because it's operating within very restricted parameters, and it's using very, very pollutive industries to fulfill its energy needs. But none of this is necessary. All of this has been put in place by the people who now wish to cull the human race because it's kind of gone too far. And then they'll have all the free energy devices, and they'll have all the stuff that they want and all this incredible lifestyle in their mega cities, which they will control. And they will just puppeteer the people within these mega cities. And then they'll have the outlying regions where you have the dumbed down worker species that harvests the coal and harvests the timber and whatever else they need for their mega cities. That's exactly where they're going. That's what Agenda 21 is. You know, you've got these mega cities, these mega concentrated areas of population, and then you've got nature comes back everywhere else except for the outlying regions that are used to extract resources. That's Agenda 21. That's where the human race is heading, and it's being done right under people's noses because they're simply not paying attention. They're distracted by all the pop stars and the fashions and everything that's on the television that's used to distract them, which is exactly the purpose of television. Television is such a fantasy world, folks. It's such a fantasy world. Nothing that you see in there is real. And really, when you look around you at your everyday world, what you see is a society that is completely disconnected from reality, completely disconnected from nature, and completely disconnected from themselves because of the perspective of reality they're fed by the television. It's mass brainwashing, folks. It's mass hypnosis, and it's very, very difficult to break people out of it. But I think more and more people are waking up simply because many of them are running so fast on the treadmill now that they are beginning to realize that something just isn't quite right here. And you've got to expect this, folks, and this is what I've often said about how problems hold within their silver lining opportunities, because all of these problems are opportunities for change, folks, and the worse it gets, then the more opportunity we have for other people to wake up. This is what coal seam gas has very much done. I knew it would. I said a year ago that coal seam gas would be a catalyst that would bind humankind together, because it is an issue that can unite everybody, because everybody needs water. And that's exactly what coal seam gas mining has been doing. We've seen a massive amount of cross-sections of people from different communities all standing up to address this issue, and a lot has been done to prevent it. Still not enough. We still need to do more, and we really need to follow the chain through the line of command up to government and find out which politicians allowed something like coal seam gas mining to take place, and we need to hold these people responsible for their actions. And I think coal seam gas mining is a great tool that could be used to expose the corruption in the system for what it is. It's like the CHAPELLE case here in Australia that I'm going to be addressing in the next short film that I do. This is a wonderful case in as much as it can be used to not only free CHAPELLE, but also expose the corruption that is inherent within the entire Australian government and the media and the whole system, folks. It sort of lays it all bare. And when we find cases such as this, I think we need to tell people about them. We need to speak about them as loudly and as often as we can, because all of this contributes to public awareness, and we need this public awareness so that we can move forward in a positive and empowering fashion from this point. Something that's been very gratifying actually lately is the amount of emails and messages I've received from people who are starting movements and having meetings in their area. They're starting community gardens, and they're really discovering who they are, and they're really discovering the wealth of people around them. Not their physical wealth, but the wealth of the actual person. Because everybody has something to offer, folks, and everybody is valid, and we are all in this together. As I said in the first segment of the show, there really are only two classes, folks. There are the elite and the people they control. And it doesn't matter what your perceived class is within the controlled people. It doesn't matter whether you're a CEO or whether you're a peasant. You're still ultimately heading for the same place. And no matter where you are in the social scale, the elite will always perceive you as being expendable. And even if you have a good position within a corporate structure, then the more streamlined that corporate structure becomes, then the more expendable you become, and eventually you will be discarded, simply because that's the way the system is designed. You know, when you step back and you really look at it, folks, it truly is a remarkable system, and it's remarkably efficient, and it's diabolically clever. And you've really got to admire the mind that created it just for its intellect. Well, I suppose admire isn't really the right word, but you've got to appreciate the intellect that went into the construction of this system. And you've got to really marvel at the sheer efficiency of the system, how it's managed to spread its tentacles out across the entire globe to encompass virtually everything, and then it basically puts its little toehold in the ground and pulls itself back and contracts and discards all the people that created the system along the way, until you're left with this very, very tight, controlled system, and the world is finally yours. Very fascinating, folks, very diabolical and extremely clever. You truly do have to marvel at the intellect that created it and the efficiency with which it operates. But of course now it is being laid bare for all to see, and so now more than any other time in history we actually have an opportunity to deal with it. We have an opportunity to bring about some very real and very positive change. We have an opportunity to free humankind from the shackles that have bound them for so long. And this opportunity is brought to us simply by the system exposing its workings so clearly and so openly for all to see. It's brought to us through the opportunities of things such as coal seam gas mining, through things such as the genetic modification of the food, because all you've got to do is research this stuff. Go and look at any university reports on it, and you'll find how damaging it is. Hungary just threw out all of their Monsanto corn. They threw all the GM corn out of the country because they can see that it is a danger to life itself. And so all of these things are opportunities, folks, and they're all being presented to us on a silver platter. It's just up to us to act. And that is it for me today, folks. We are completely out of time again. Thank you all for joining me today. It's been a pleasure talking to you again. Please do try to make time to watch the new film Transformation that I've released on the crowhouse.com, and it's also available on YouTube. It's in 7 parts because I'm unable to upload the full-length film, but it's in high definition, and I'll make it available on the website for you as soon as I found a way of reducing the file to a manageable size for uploading. It's fascinating, but it really has been presenting me with no end of trouble every time I've attempted to reduce or shrink the file in some way. But that is it for me, folks. I will look forward to speaking to you again next week. Please take care until then, and never doubt the power that you have to bring about positive change. Indeed, any positive change that's ever been brought about in the world has been brought about through the actions of people just like you. In Lakesh.